some time ago, when the game originally released on the PS4 and the Xbox One, I did a review on it, and if you haven't seen it, you can check it out on my channel. I'll link it for you in the description. But I ultimately said that the game was pretty amazing. You got the two games included, and all the different great soundtracks is included in the game. So it was actually a really good deal when it released for only $40, and that was really really impressive. Now we're talking about the Nintendo Switch version of the game, and it's mostly the same result with a couple of things that might need to be worked on, and we'll get into that in a bit. So here is my review for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Let's start with the gameplay compared to both handheld and docked mode. I actually saw a comment on one of my videos doing more of a first impressions of this game, and the commenter said that the game looked fine in handheld, but when he put the game in the dock, it turned into Minecraft. That is not the case. Obviously, as you can see in the gameplay recorded here, this is all docked gameplay. This is not handheld recorded gameplay. I don't have a way to capture handheld gameplay because you can't record videos with the Switch for this game. Some Switch games have that issue. This is one of them that doesn't let you record gameplay from the Switch. So this is all docked gameplay you're seeing. And it's not going to look as great as it would on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and probably not as good as it looks on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. But the game still looks pretty amazing for a Switch port. Probably one of the best looking Switch ports I've ever seen of any game to come out on the Switch that's a third party game. That being said, the controls are also mostly pretty good. I don't know if it's with the game itself or the weirdness of the Switch Pro controller, but certain button combinations were just not being read all the time. One in particular that was really frustrating was trying to do a boneless, and it will either do a no comply or just a standard ollie, despite pressing the up button on the D-pad twice. Some people do use the analog for these tricks. I've been using D-pad in Tony Hawk since the first one I ever played, which was Pro Skater 3 back on the PS2. And like I said, there's certain times where the combos just won't be read. I would also have to press up and down a number of times just to get a manual to go. But like I said, that could be with the controller itself. I don't know if it's with the game itself, because haven't really seen any type of performance issues while playing single player. Sure, you have a couple of pop-ins here and there. Depending on the level you're on, some items will be a bit of a distance away, and it won't be visible until you get closer. You probably see right there just some pop-ups that happen on the buildings in the background. But that's expected for a game to be ported over to the Switch. Now, the game does require a 10 gigabyte install onto your SD card, which is not a big deal. There are games out there such as LA Noire and the BioShock collection and the Borderlands collection that require up to 32 gigs and above install. So the 10 gigabyte install is not a problem at all, and it's really worth the install. This game still performs pretty well. The soundtrack still sounds great. I had no issues with sound issues. I had no performance issues except for playing multiplayer. Now that's where some of the problems come in. So the first multiplayer match I did was in school number 2, and it was just bizarre with all the frame rate issues and the lagging, and that could possibly be due to Nintendo's poor online capabilities, and maybe a little bit of the game, maybe not so much of the game itself, because that was the only level that I experienced that much frame rate and lag. All the other levels I've played online, whether it was a casual match or a competitive match, there really hasn't been any type of issues like I was experiencing in the School 2 level. So I don't know if it was probably just the level that they needed to update for those lag issues to go away. But that was all that I saw with online lag. The other problem I have with online play is you would do a match, and then when the next one is about to load, you will get a message saying that they're waiting for one or two more players, depending on the need for the game. And I think that's due to not many people purchasing the game as they did on the other consoles. Maybe there's people out there who have the other consoles and they just prefer to play it on those consoles. Now, when it comes to handheld performance, the game still looks pretty damn good in handheld performance. It actually holds up really well. I haven't tested the online in handheld too much, but I can only imagine how much of a struggle it could be, considering that I actually use a Ethernet adapter for my docked Switch. So I can only imagine online issues becoming much more of a problem in handheld mode. But if you're playing the single player mode, you're not going to have any problems with handheld mode at all. The only problem you may have is if your eyesight is bad enough to see the little screen, because my eyesight certainly is bad enough to see it on my Switch Lite. But it still looks good, runs good, plays good, the controls play good on there, especially with the Switch Lite having a much better D-pad than the normal Switch Joy-Con. So you have to kind of keep that in mind depending on which Switch you have if you are going to buy this game. Now, just like the original games when they released, and just like the one they released on the other consoles, it's the same game, so you're gonna have those levels that you may or may not enjoy. I certainly had some frustrating moments within certain levels. One in particular that I really don't like is the downhill jam one. That level was just so poorly created, but that's just what it is. It's a level from the game back when it was first released, and it's the same package for the same price. Now I understand the mindset of you already have it on another console and it's gonna look better, and the online will definitely perform a lot better. So why would you want to get this on the Switch? Well, obviously the portability, being able to take it with you on the go and play Tony Hawk on the bus or the train, on your lunch break. That's really the purpose of buying it on Switch. There's also, being that the Switch is easier to carry around from one house to another, you also have the advantage of using local multiplayer with your friend. I believe it's a two-player local multiplayer. I could be wrong with that. But you do have that advantage of taking the Switch with you and playing locally with a friend. But like I said, the most advantage to buying this on Switch is the portability. Because the game, like I said, it still runs great. It'll just run a tiny bit better on the other consoles, and that's more for the online options as well. The online will, of course, run much better on the other consoles. So ultimately, with this package, I will give this game a score of about 9 out of 10. There really isn't much negative to say about the game other than the online issues. That's about it. It's still not a full price game. It's only $40, which is a great deal for two games with a lot of content, depending on the person you are. It took me about 5 days to get 100% completion for both games. I definitely could have done it a bit quicker, but I wanted to space it out a bit more. I didn't want to breeze through it in 1 day or 2 days. But if you know what you're doing and you know how to get everything, you can beat it pretty quickly. But there is, like I said, the portability aspect is the reason why to buy this game for the Switch. They did also release some new DLC. It's supposed to support a good cause. There's two different ones. Each one gives you different items, like different outfits and different skateboard decks. These DLCs are only limited, though. They're only going to be out until a certain date or until they reach a certain fundraiser goal. So keep that in mind if you are interested in getting this other DLC. They're about $5.99 each, I believe. But like I said, you know what you're getting with this game. You know what's in it. You know the price. You know what you're paying for. Don't let people trick you in saying the game looks horrible, because it really doesn't. You are getting close to 1080p in docked and about 720p in handheld. And that's pretty damn good. But that's my review for today. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out my other videos, because I have a lot of them out there, and some more to come in the future. Don't forget to check out my comedy channel. I am a amateur stand-up comedian, and I am trying to get that channel going up as well. It's Anthony Olan Comedy. I'll link that in the description as well. But without further ado, I'm Anthony Olan Tech, and I will see you guys next time.